Do not miss these huge dividend yields we're seeing today. In a year or two, you're going to kick yourself for not locking these income streams in. Take it from me, this bond guy nearly missed the great home refi opportunity of 2020-21. Fortunately, I managed to wake up and lock in a 2% plus mortgage before rates skyrocketed. Today, 30-year mortgage rates sit at 8%. I mention that only because we have a similar setup in dividends today. In a moment, we're going to discuss an elite dividend paying 8.5%. Let's not miss it. Here's the upshot. The same trend that delivered that sweet refi opportunity 3 years ago is driving our dividend opportunity today, just in reverse. I know nobody wants to talk about 2020, with its lockdowns and backyard bars, but bear with me for a sec. In those days, to put it mildly, the economy was flat on its back. The Fed was pumping out printed cash, and the yield on the 10-year Treasury bottomed out around 0.5%. That decimated mortgage rates and sent dividend stocks through the roof, dropping their dividend yields in turn, because yields and prices move in opposite directions. It all made sense. If you wanted yield, stocks were the only game in town. Today, the script has flipped. Treasury rates just broke over 5%, drawing investors away from dividend stocks, and sending the yields on our favorite tickers soaring. But that won't last. You and I both know this economy is slowing down. Powell almost broke the banks back in March, and he's not going to risk another crisis. Just look at how quickly he changed course when Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank et al. Cracked. What we're looking at here is the Fed's balance sheet. You can see how it started letting its bond holdings roll off as they matured, starting in mid-2022, so-called quantitative tightening in action. That spike in early 2023? That's when the Fed got spooked and temporarily reversed course, suddenly adding to its bond holdings out of fear of breaking the banks. The Fed said little about this at the time, but it's proof positive that as the economy slows, Powell and company will be quick to can their tough talk and cut rates. And the 10-year, which is much more dialed to investor moods than the Fed, will likely head lower before that. And that will trigger a flood of folks out of treasuries and back into dividend stocks. The time to front run them is now, so we lock in today's high yields for the long haul. But what do we buy? When looking for investments that will soar out of a downturn, it pays to look for the ones that were pounded the hardest in the crash. These garbage pail moments are gifts to savvy contrarians like us, and right now we're looking squarely at tech, which took a header in 22. It's rebounded this year, but the tech-heavy NASDAQ still sits about 8% below its peak.